Hey everybody, Nate here, 3 Drinks Down. Today I've got one that's very special, near and dear to my heart, and I hope it's very special to you guys. It's Wild Turkey Master's Keep Unforgotten. So you may have noticed right off the top, we didn't run the normal intro. You did in fact see our beloved Maddie Girl that we recently had to make a choice to be merciful because her medical conditions were coming to a head to the point where they were going to worsen to make her life very poor. She was a great dog, 17 years. She was our fur baby, Sarah and I's, and honestly, this is just something that, as I had tried this at a local bar and then got the bottle of it and tried to pour when we did say goodbye to her a few weeks ago. Sweet, spicy, just like her. So I'm gonna do my best to give you some tasting notes and walk through this, but I hope you guys find this maybe beneficial for you as well. So this is cheers to Maddie Girl and to anyone you feel you want to raise up in this moment. Cheers, everyone. Let's get right into the nosing on this one and start talking about it. It's actually a very beautiful product up front, I can tell you that. I've had a taste of it a couple times. There's a spicy and sweet component that balances it hits you, so you got to really pull it apart. I'm catching apple for one of the first scents that hits me, but that generally was something I was perceiving later on the first couple times I tried it. Definitely vanilla. Cinnamon as well. You know, it's really complex. There's also probably some other fruits underneath here. You guys know me, the fruits, I'm not the best with that. But, you know, I would have to guess maybe with the apple kind of leans towards pear too. And then coming back to the oak. So this is where I think it really shows exactly what Master's Keep Unforgotten is. So for those of you that aren't aware, this is a non-chill filtered 105 proof product that is actually a blend of 2 rye whiskeys, an 8 and a 9-year-old. Both of them are barely legal ryes, meaning 51% rye. The rest is all made up of corn and malted. And then also a 13-year bourbon. So you bring that together and they finish it in a rye cask. And so I think you get this whole amalgamation of all of those things on the nose in particular that really start to come through. And then as we get into the tasting here in a second, you're gonna see like, as you experience this, just kind of some waves of flavor and just really well done. If this were something even outside the context of the video I've laid out for you guys today, I'd be overjoyed about this. Let's get into the tasting. Before I get into any notes, this thing is just so smooth on the palate all the way down. At 105 proof, you don't expect a big, heavy hug, but there's a little hug there. It is really nice. And it coats the entire mouth really well. That's probably due to the nature we could guess, just due to the aged bourbon and the aged rye out in there. You're getting 8+ year product for every component of this. But as we talk about the flavors on the palate itself, the first thing that hits me is caramel. So what I may have been mistaking on those for vanilla may have been more of a sweeter caramel as well. The rye spice doesn't exactly hit you. It builds. Maybe second sip might be a little different. So let's go ahead and jump into second sip and I'll expand a little more. So on second sip, this really does start to take that sweet front, that kind of spicy finish, but not heavily spiced, and combine on the middle of the palate. And I don't quite have the right word for it. It's like nutmeggy, I don't know, going in that direction. So, but for me, it really just marries well. You know how some whiskeys or products, they'll have a good sweet front and a really spicy back and there's no middle, it doesn't pair well. This one's just a whole experience as it goes to the back of your palate and the different flavor zones on your tongue or taste receptors or whatever you want to call them come out. It really does a wonderful job of just maturing as you drink it, I guess is the best way to say it. It matriculates to the back of your tongue and then down the rest of your passage, and it's a wonderful product. So I think all we have left to do is talk about purchase, pour, or pass. For me on this one, obviously there is a huge amount of value I place on this one. So I'm gonna put that right out there out front, just based off what I introed the video on with you guys. You can understand why I'm gonna say I'm gonna purchase these at retail in particular every time I see them. However, with that said, they are not easy to get at retail. Like, retailers are only getting a couple at a time, maybe 3 or 4 at most, and they're going very quickly at a $200 MSRP. So you may have to look out to secondary. Now, here's the good news there. It is not a huge percentage markup on secondary. When I say that though, you're gonna say, Nate, it still could be $300 or $325. You're right. But I still believe that if you have faith in this line, which I know the faith has been waning in this line based off Master Keep 1 and some of the ones prior to that, come back to this one. This is the one that's gonna draw you back in. In all honesty, if I were to take the turkey products from last year, it's this and Russell's 13. I did not get to try the 12 that I see some people getting from the International in. Hopefully I'll get there and get to try that and maybe have a third player enter the game there. But for me, this one was a purchase. And obviously, as I always tell you guys, we start out with the 12 days. So when you wanna do this, the idea is have a pour, make a memory. There's also a component to all of this that it can evoke great memories. And for me, just expressing this with you guys today has definitely brought back all of the fond memories I have of my beloved Maddie and Sarah's beloved Maddie. And I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to indulge a little bit personally here. I know it is a little self-serving and it's very cathartic for me. If you guys don't know, it really is. But I hope you all have an excellent experience with this or another bourbon that you love. And please raise one up, as I said earlier. Love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Cheers.